So let's tackle short-term incidents. We're talking about lacerations, breaks, and even amputations. Yeah, ouch. These are the kind of mishaps that can happen in the blink of an eye. Whether it's a slip with a tool, mishap with heavy machinery, maybe you fell into a hole. Let's dive into how these incidents can occur and then more importantly, how to prevent them. Lacerations or cuts to the hands and wrists can occur as a result of contact with sharp objects, machinery, or of course tools. These injuries can vary in severity from minor cuts to deep wounds that may actually damage tendons, nerves, or of course blood vessels. Without prompt and proper medical attention, I'm talking first aid here at the very least, lacerations can lead to infection, impaired hand function, and long-term complications. So make sure you know where your first aid kit is and how to call the emergency medical personnel. Fractures or breaks in the bones of the hands and wrists can result from traumatic injuries like falls, impacts, or crushing incidents. These injuries can cause severe pain, swelling, and loss of function, right? In other words, you're not going to be able to do your job. It might require immobilization, casting, or surgical intervention to promote proper healing and prevent long-term issues. With amputations, well, these involve the partial or complete loss of fingers, hands, or wrists due to severe trauma, machinery accidents, or crushing injuries. If this happens, it's going to have huge physical, emotional, and psychological effects, and it's going to lead to long-term disability and functional limitations. Again, with everything, understand the limitations of first aid and when you're going to need to call in emergency medical personnel. When in doubt, just give them a shout. So next up, let's chat about the long-term effects of poor work habits. I'm not talking about being lazy on the job site. I'm talking about safety still. You can have that other conversation with your supervisor. From repetitive strain injuries to chronic conditions caused by ergonomic issues, these are the sneaky hazards that kind of creep in over time. You get used to them, they become habits. By understanding the potential long-term effects of these, we can take proactive steps to keep our hands in tip-top condition for the long haul. Kind of by definition, construction work, we typically engage in repetitive tasks without adequate rest and ergonomic support. This isn't a good thing, but it definitely is prevalent, and it leads to conditions like carpal tunnel syndrome, tendinitis, and tenosynovitis. Over time, these conditions are going to cause major pain, weakness, and restricted mobility in our hands and our wrists. Prolonged exposure to poor ergonomics and high levels of physical stress are going to contribute to degenerative conditions like osteoarthritis, degenerative joint disease in the hands and wrists. These conditions are going to cause you chronic pain, stiffness, and reduced functionality, right? You just won't have the same use of your hands. Continuous pressure and strain on the nerves in the hands and wrists, such as the median nerve we talked about before in carpal tunnel syndrome, can lead to nerve compression and long-term nerve damage. This is going to result in ongoing tingling, numbness, and loss of sensation in those areas. Long-term poor work habits, again, I'm not talking laziness, can lead to a loss of hand and wrist function. It's going to affect our ability to perform everyday tasks, work-related duties, and even recreational activities. In other words, if you don't work safely, you're not going to have as much fun when you're not working. It's going to affect your quality of life and, of course, your productivity. Chronic hand and wrist pain and limitations can also have psychological effects. It can lead to increased stress, anxiety, and it can decrease our overall well-being. I know on the job site we don't always like to talk about these things, but mental health is huge.